Disclaimer. One of the audios in this episode had some technical issues. We've done our best to fix it. Thanks for your understanding and enjoy the episode.
So before we start diving into how to invest or how to maximize your profits with narrative investing, I think it's really important to first cover what actually is a narrative.
A narrative is pretty much a group of coins which are going up massively together and which gather a lot of attention in a short period of time. And most of the time it happens because of a certain trigger. For example, in 2023 and 2024, ChatGPT came into the market. It was this brand new big breakthrough project. And this spilled over this mania because it was something so groundbreaking, new, and everyone was like, oh my God, look at what ChatGPT can do. It spilled over to the cryptocurrency markets, and then crypto coins went up too, because crypto is obviously also very driven by narratives, information, speculation. And then things like Tau, Render, and a whole subset of AI coins emerged and went up all together.
Yeah. So I think it's important to understand a trigger can be something like, for example, real life real world development, like for example, ChatGPT, which just drove a lot of attention into the AI space. And with this specific trigger, crypto acted like a proxy, right? Because there weren't a lot of ability or possibilities for investors to invest into AI. And crypto just gave those investors room to also invest into this AI category, simply not in the stock market. So it was acting as a proxy. But there are also other triggers out there. So it's not just this external catalyst, as I call it, but there are also other internal triggers or catalysts. Like for example, AI agents, which also were driven a bit by external factors, but mainly through coin pumps in the AI agent sector space. I think it was combination of AI and memes, which actually drove attention into the AI agent space. So you have different types of triggers and you need to be aware of those types of triggers. I think it's too much to go over them. I actually have a list of 21 catalysts. I will tell my editor to put them below the video so you can check them out. Those trigger events are the start or can be the start of a narrative. Let's put it like that. I think that's pretty good explanation. So look for triggers, and then through those triggers, you see price jumps, and those price jumps drive even more attention to this category, and this then forms a narrative. Attention is a very important piece of the puzzle, right?
Yeah, so obviously.
It is important to understand how to quantify attention, right?
Yep.
So how can you quantify attention?
So there's different metrics. Attention. What is attention? It's basically how many people know about a certain thing, right? And in our example, it is cryptocurrency. So how do you measure how many people know about a cryptocurrency? So one, you have the price. And then second of all, money flows, is how you officially call it. And then you have things like mindshare, or how many people are talking about it online. There is websites where you can see, you can kind of track it, and they just tell you, okay, based on some tweets or some social media activities, they post some charts how much is being talked about this category, right? So it's pretty much price and mind share in my eyes. Yeah. But I think you had...
I think it's something else as well. I would say money flows into a certain category are a good quantification of attention and mindshare as well. So those two are the main metric that you should really measure or track. I'm sure there are other things as well, but those are the ones I think that are the easiest also to track, which brings me actually to the next question, how can you track it? You already said there are tools for the mindshare or tracking the mindshare out there. I think for us, the best beginner tool is DEXTools.ai. I would say I'm sure there are others out there who are also doing a good job, but it's free. You can access most of the information over there without having to log in or doing a subscription or something like that. So I think DEXTools.ai is really helpful. And measuring money flows, this is, I think, not as easy as people. It's not there's a website for it, right? You have to use, in my opinion, you can best do it on TradingView.
Yeah.
by simply, like, for example, a very simple example. Let's say right now the main narrative or main category that goes up is AI. So how can you measure if attention flows from one category to another? So I just made a video about this, how you can create like an index in TradingView or your own index. But what I like to do is just put like a certain group of coins together into like one index and then compare this index versus another one. So I use like relative strength and basically just divide the one index by the other. So this way you can measure which of those indexes or categories is gaining more money inflows or is stronger in terms of price. This method doesn't track money flows directly, but through relative strength, it measures money flows like not directly, but indirectly. So I think that's one way to do it. I'm sure you have others.
Yeah, like if you really want to do it easy, and this is how I do it as well, is like if you go in TradingView, you have a watch list, and on your watch list, you can create like subcategories, right? So for example, I have a AI category, I have a RWA category, L1 category, and then every day when you go through your TradingView, you see like, all right, there's one block which is greener than the other ones. And then you can obviously, you know that this category is getting more attention because prices are going up more than in your other little blocks, right? So if green and more green than the others, that's perfect. And this is how you can measure it, right? This is how you can measure attention by price.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's like an even simpler way to do it. I think you also need TradingView Premium for what I've just built, yeah. All right. So yeah, those are like two ways how you can quantify it. And also track it. So now we have established that attention is the key metric that someone has to measure in order to identify like narratives early on. We quantified it by mindshare and by price, and tracking it either with your method on TradingView or mine, and we can use DEXTools AI for the mindshare. Now this is a very simple way at looking at all of that. Now we have to understand like how can you actually like find those narratives? Because like what I always get is the question. So for example, for you, how do you create those subcategories in TradingView? How do you put like new coins into TradingView to track them? What is like the method behind it?
These are two questions. Which one do you want to answer?
The second one.
All right. So how do I find coins to put into this little box? So first of all, you can go to CoinGecko and you can click on categories, and then there's a whole list of categories, and then you can pick the top 10 coins or 5 coins, and then you just put them in there. But I'm sure you mean new ones.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So new categories. How do I find them? I would say the question is like, how do they find me?
That's a good.
Because I don't actively search for them, right? So there's kind of two ways how you can find narratives, and the first is like either you let them come to you or you actively go looking for them. And for me right now, at this stage, at the moment today, I do the first, right? Because for me it's the highest ROI, and in general as well, it's the highest ROI for most people. But the second one, if you really want to make money and you really put in the hours, you can make way more money than with number one, right? But I have a certain amount of capital right now, and I don't really need to do this anymore. But we still do it. So way number one is basically I just exist in the realm of crypto, right? I'm on Twitter, I'm a little bit around, and I just notice people talking about certain things. Now, I could give you a Twitter list, but it's like giving a weapon to a child, right? Like it's dangerous. Maybe it can defend itself, but maybe, you can get injured or get killed, because a lot of people, if I were, for example, to give you an account and it shills a coin or it just talks about a coin, you might go and buy it and actually listen to the opinion of the people, right? Which is wrong. What anyone should do is use Twitter as a mechanism, as a tool for finding new coins. So I never, like, the opinion of the Twitter people, it goes in one ear and it goes out of the other. I just what stays in my brain is the ticker, right? So I'm following some good accounts which are deemed as smart, but I do not care what they say, right? I just look at what are they talking about, because the attention matters. The attention matters. It's not because I have my own criteria if I should get in or not. So this is the first step, right? You need a good Twitter. You need a good Twitter follower list. And through that, you can find good coins, right? So this is how I do it. And then a lot of times when a lot of people talk about a certain coin, you also have price going up, right? So if we come back to our question, like how does a narrative form? It's like through money flows and attention. And these are the two things, right? Attention, I go on Twitter, social media, and then a lot of people talk about it, attention. And then on top of that, price goes up, right? Because if you have the one without the other, like, it doesn't matter. So I go there, and then basically I just observe the price. And I'm typically not a FOMO buyer, right? Because I'm not super greedy. I have my systems, etc. But I just see people talking about certain coins, and then I watch the price, right? Then I go on DEX Screener, I go on TradingView, and then I just observe, right? Because a lot of times when there's a new hyped coin, people are super like, they think that they need to buy it now to make the money, right? But how a coin operates is not like it goes up in a straight line and then it dies forever, right? This is not how it happens. So I agree there's often a big hype wave, but then there is at least one correction. And this is where I want to get in, right? So I just wait. I let the first euphoria happen. I know that it happens. I willingly miss out, and I'm not salty about it because I know I'm the sniper, right? I come back in when prices go down. I see they stabilize. And basically you just wait a little bit for everyone to forget about the project, right? And during that time, you can also identify it if it was actually a good project or not, right? Because a bad one, it will just go down 80-90% and never recover. But a good one, you know, it will stay, it will go a little bit sideways, and it will not just like go up and then instantly crash. So then you look at the price behavior, how it moves. And then you can also, it gives you more time to look at the fundamentals without having your emotional bias like, oh my God, I need to buy this. Everyone's talking about it, blah, blah, blah. You can actually do research and then actually see if it's something good or not, if it has revenue, or, you know, if it has a good community. It doesn't even need to have revenue if it's a meme coin. It can just have a good community. And yeah, and then I put my system on top of it, which tells me, okay, if this coin outperforms the strongest major coin with my indicators, I can buy it. And then I buy it, and then most of the time it goes up. And yeah, so basically it's Twitter, observing, executing, making money.
Yeah, pretty straightforward, I would say.
And to answer your question, because sorry, I didn't answer your question, but it's just like if I like the price action and I go through the website, the fundamentals, the groups, etc., the community, then I put it on my watch list.
Yeah, I think like when we talk about fundamentals, I think one of the things that people misunderstand when it comes to fundamentals, like we talked about that quickly before we did the podcast, and you said there was one very important thing. Good fundamentals doesn't mean that the project is doing something better than an existing solution. So for example, a faster layer 1 or faster layer 2 or whatever, like this, all of this doesn't really matter. The thing that keeps people interested is if it has a unique mechanism, or if it's unique in some way. If we talk about meme coins, I don't know, like it's the biggest new meme coin on Hyperliquid or something like that.
Yeah.
So this can be a differentiator. So you need like a clear differentiator why people will come back to this project and not jump on the next frame, which is basically exactly the same, just with a different packaging. So a unique mechanism, for example, with virtuals, it was like a first launch pads for AI agents. So you need this uniqueness, and this is one thing on the fundamental checklist which should be on top. So if it has this unique like mechanism in place, then it can go onto your watch list. Another thing I would say is future catalysts. So
yeah, I mean that's very good, but that's the second category I would say. Like the first one was like You just observe, you let price and attention happen, and then you buy the retest before the first, after the first pump.
Yeah.
But then there's a second way where you can just brute force the research, and this is like the criteria you should look out for. Yeah. Like what you just said, it needs to be a new and unique opportunity. No one cares about a better Bitcoin, right? If you bring out a competitor to Bitcoin, no one cares. It has already, there were thousands and thousands of projects which tried this. Everyone failed. And also future catalysts is also one of the most important things one needs to watch out for if you do the brute force researching. So yeah, these are 2 good points.
All right. So when you said like fundamentally it needs to be good to be on your observation, that's like, what would you say are like 3 key points that people should watch out for?
Maybe revenue generating possibilities.
Oh, you would look at the revenue?
No. Revenue generation possibilities.
So just to have like something in the mind of people so they could say something like, okay, it will do X, Y, Z revenue at a certain point if this and that is.
I don't care. Yeah, I don't care what people will say. I just actually look at the project and be like, could this be the new economy? Could this be something that generates revenue? Could this be something which a lot of people use?
All right, so this is one point that you look for. What else besides revenue?
Maybe if the token can generate some sort of demand or some sort of attention which makes people buy. Like a meme coin, for example, there was this whole meme token mania in 2024, and the thesis back then was like, why would someone buy this coin? For example, with Brett, it was like, because it is the brother or cousin or whatever of Pepe, the green guy. And this was like the thesis. It's not tied to revenue. It's tied to a story and why people would buy this coin.
All right. So the project needs a good story.
Also, yeah, I guess.
Yeah. I would say one thing that is just like for risk management, I think tokenomics are also one thing that I would check. Just to see if like the supply is very concentrated and if we have any crazy unlocks in the like near future, because then it will be like, I think I would directly throw it out if like I see, like if I had some red flags in the tokenomics, because it's not worth the risk in my opinion.
100%.
And big unlocks, I wouldn't throw it off my list, but it would be something that I would think about when deciding how much I want to put into this position.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%.
This would influence the size. I think. What else? I think those are like pretty important metric that you should check out. What else?
Yeah, also maybe if they have some smart followers, you want to see if people are interested, if there's some sort of hype, because it comes back to what we said earlier, that attention, or you kind of need some sort of a trigger for people to buy. And a lot of times the trigger for a lot of people to buy is because some influencer said so, right? And this is one of the biggest like generators of buys. So if you have a project which also on top of that, it has everything we just talked about, plus it has some good people following it and maybe even invested in it, it could be pretty good.
I think on DEXTools AI, you can actually see that.
Yeah?
Yes, I checked it out. Like you can see who's following them.
Yeah. I actually have a website for that as well.
Oh, all right. Do you want to share it? So we?
I don't know. Maybe in the
next episode.
The comments.
In the comments. All right.
If we remember.
Hey, this podcast is going to be uploaded in I think a couple of weeks. So, I think that's pretty much it. So we covered what is a narrative. So you now know exactly what a narrative is. You know how to quantify it. You know how to track a different metric that quantify a narrative, or make it like, or quantify attention. We covered your process, which is available for everyone, basically, to like find new narratives and how to play them. So we have the tracking phase, we have the observation phase, we have the execution phase. I think we don't have to talk too much about execution because like this is a topic that we covered so much in different episodes. So you basically put your systems on it and let the systems tell you when to buy. Again, if you need some system or do you want to get some infos on that, I will link a podcast to that episode or to a YouTube video I've made where we cover that. And what now? So is this the method that will make people crypto millionaires overnight? This is a major question that everyone has in their mind. Because if I do this now,
if they know, I mean, it's if you can do this professionally, yes, you could theoretically, because with narratives you can actually make a lot of money very fast. I think it's one of the fastest money making methods ever. Maybe the fastest. So if you know how to do it professionally, then yeah, but obviously you need more nuances, and this is like a basic framework.
Yeah. So as Jack, I think you covered that real quick. So the thing that we just gave you is already very valuable, right? So you can do a lot with it if you apply it correctly. But if you really want to be extremely early to narratives and also maybe write this first wave as well, you have to do a lot of research in order to get there. And this is like, I think when we look back at our past as crypto investors, we always worked as a team. We always worked together. We were always like researching everything together. And because of that, we were able to like find alpha very, very early, or discover alpha very early. But nowadays, the crypto space is simply it's so vast that doing this alone is not a method. Like you said, it's not the best ROI on the time. So if you want to use this method, like the research brute force method, let's call it like that, you need to have a team. And this can be like for example, in CGP, we have this research investment call every Monday where we just like everyone researches a specific project and presents it. And through that, you get like information of the whole crypto space from many different people around you who you can trust. And this is something that you have to build for yourself. So you should look out for people in your friend group that you can trust because you know them on a personal level, and do research with them together. And then you will also be able to do like this more profitable way of narrative investing. But if you don't have that, the method that we just covered will help you, should be the one that you should aim for or should go with. Do you have anything other to add to that?
Not really. Just, do the research and apply what we've told you, and you should be able to do pretty good. And obviously it's a lot of repetition. And as you just said, we have this dedicated calls, and we show it at length. So I have huge courses on how to do that. And I think that it's a huge opportunity. Everyone can do it.
Go for it. All right. So with that being said, see you in the next episode.
See you guys.
So before
Alright, ich bin ready. So before we start talking about an exact strategy for how to maximize your profits with narrative investing, I think we first have to cover what is a narrative?
Bro.
Okay, ich gebe dir jetzt noch 2 Versuche.
Okay.
To understand what a narrative actually is. So ich sag.
Bro.
Ich hab nicht, du hast gelacht.
Nee, Bro.
Alright, ich mach nochmal.
Ernst. Bro, das kannst du nicht machen.